Hello, people. Well, another day. Another one of my little ideas. I went and ordered wonderful Shamwow cloths. With them, you got a Shamwow mask. Now, it's a great mask on its own. And it's got zinc infused into it. And that's one of the components I found inside the N95 masks that you need to make the mask more resistant to something like COVID-19. So, the other components are citric acid and iodized salt. The problem you have with citric acid is if you put it on the mask and then put it on your face, and your face gets sweaty, it'll cause a rash. You know that COVID-19 syndrome nurses get? That's why. Because their N95 masks have citric acid, and it irritates the skin and causes that redness. Nurses that are working without the N95 masks are finding all they're getting is the depression. They're not getting the red. And the reason why they're not getting the red is because there's no citric acid in those masks. So what I did with this mask, this one has the citric acid. Now, the way to mix your citric acid is you take about 1/3 cup of water, or of citric acid, and you stick it into a 1 cup measuring cup. You fill it the rest of the way with water to the 1 cup level. Mix it up. Make sure the water is warm so that the citric acid will dilute well. Then you put your mask in it, squeeze it out, and the remaining amount, don't squeeze out real hard, just squeeze out enough so it won't drip. Then the remaining amount put into a squirt bottle. There's a reason for that. Now, you take your mask, you got the citric acid, air dry. Do not dry in the dryer. It's going to take a little while for a Shamwow mask to air dry, but air dry it. It'll get kind of a stiff feeling. If you touch it while it's still wet, you'll get a stickiness to your finger. Okay, so you got your mask. What you do next is you take your mask and you put it, you see the crease right there? On the crease like this. And then you draw out the shape. And you make a longer piece right here. So it ends up looking like this. And then you sew the 2 little edges here. You have it like this for a reason. Then you take the corner of an old pillowcase. You lay your mask when the pillowcase is right side out like this. You lay your mask on top of it. And then you cut your shape out wider than what your mask is. There is a reason for this. Because this is going to be your interior mask, one that's not treated with anything. And breathing in on this alone, it gets really warm in there and uncomfortable. So you need this material to make it comfortable. Okay, once you get it cut out, you turn the pillowcase inside out like this. Okay? Then you take your mask and you lay it onto it right below where these stitches are that are on the edge here. Right below that, so it fits just like so. And now you can see where the corner needs to be folded over. Once you got it folded over, you take it apart, and then you just stitch about that far from the top. Where the top of my nail is there, about that far from the top. And just stitch it straight over. Then you're going to take this mask piece. Now the stitches are on the outside, and that's where you want it. But you're going to take it and you're going to turn it inside out like this. Okay? The reason why you're turning it inside out like that is so that you can put your mask piece after you turn this right side out and it's been done the way you want it done, and you put it on here, and then you curl under the edges, and then you just sew all the way around. So you've got this inside piece now. This is my completed mask, and I'll show you how you're going to take it apart in a minute. Then you're going to take another old pillowcase or the same pillowcase, doesn't matter which, and you're going to set this on top of the mask, and you're going to draw out this shape, but instead of cutting this part off here, you're just going to cut it straight up. Because then, when you're ready to put your mask together, this will lay on top of this mask after you've done a salt solution. The salt solution is done the same way as the citrus acid solution. And you're going to lay this on top of it. And then the little tails here are just going to fold over. That way you don't have to sew it. So then it'll fit in like so. You're going to sew a button on the outside of this, like I did to this one. And you're going to cut a buttonhole corresponding to where you sewed the button after you put the mask inside tightly and then fold the edge over. So your button is even there. That way, you can take the inner part and the outer parts apart like this so that you can wash and retreat each piece separately. Now I cut my buttonholes this way so it doesn't slide too much one way or another. So now watch when I take the mask apart. See, there's my inner salt section. There's my regular section. Now, I am going to show you something with this mask here. If you just want this plain mask here, you can take this here and put a rubber band inside of it. Let me take the salt piece off. Take and put a rubber band on each side, just like so, okay? And there's another rubber band, and you put that on like so. Now you're going to say, how is that going to work around your ear? It's not. Take a piece of cloth like this and sew a button on it like I did there. Any old piece will work as long as it's thick enough. What's that button for? And it's got to be one of the buttons with the little knob down here. You say, what's that button for? Well, what you're going to do with that is you're going to make something like this. And it's going to hook onto here like this. So that you can take it on and off. Now, if you only want to wear the inner part of the mask, what you're going to do is you're going to wrap this around one of the sides, and then you're going to button it. And that's going to make you a little loop like this. And then you're going to put the mask on. And you're going to put the rubber band around the button on the back, and see, now you got another mask. Just a plain old mask. And then that leaves this one here, whether if you decide you don't want to treat it and use it as a second mask, then you've got a second mask as well. But this way, you've got one mask. Now, one added thing I did with this one is I took the metal piece out of one of these flimsy little regular doctor masks, and I sewed it in along the bridge of the nose of this. All I did was I cut it off here, cut it off here, and cut it off here. And then this here, part there, if you make another regular size mask, can be attached onto a place like this. I tried to use this as the inner part of the mask like I did with this stuff here. And the problem I had is it made the mask way too thick, way too clunky. So now that I've got all my parts together, I've got all my parts made so that they're COVID-19. They're like an N95. They've got all the components that the patents for N95 masks had. What I'm going to do is put my pieces together. Show you how I'm going to do that. Let me bring this camera down a little bit. I'm going to take my little piece that's for the salt. It's been treated and dried with salt on it. And I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to fold it just like so. And fold this end just like so. And then I'm going to make sure I pull it so it goes where it belongs. Then I'm going to lay this mask on top of it. Just like so. And I'm going to tuck everything in and make sure it's good and tight. Now you see I've got just a tiny bit of overhang here. That's so when this folds over, it kind of holds on to it. And I'm going to button this on. I'm going to take this side, fold it over, button this one on, and that turns two masks and a cloth piece into one mask. See, now you have one mask. You've got your citrus acid outside, you've got your salt treated cloth in between, and then you've got your plain cloth to go across your face so that you don't get irritated by the citrus acid. And just like with just the inner part, you're going to take this and you're going to button it on again. So that the button stays up there. Then when you wear your mask, oops, I put it on backwards. Silly me. I'm going to put this part in first and button it this way. So that this folds up this way. So then when you want to wear your mask, you just put it on. Put that piece right over the top of the button. And it holds your mask on. And now you have the equivalence of what they say they do with an N95 mask. So now you have the equivalence of what they say they do with an N95 mask. You've got all the same components that I found in the patents for the N95 mask. What an N95 mask has is 3 layers. It's a layer of just basic cloth that has zinc infused into it. It's another thin layer of iodized salt with the zinc infused into the material. And then it's the last thin layer that is of citrus acid. But because the layers are so thin, when they're wearing it, the citrus acid, after a while, after the person sweats for a while in it, ends up getting on the skin. With something as thick as this, you're not going to have that problem. And you have an N95 mask, basically. Now, I'd like to see somebody test it to make sure it is as good as an N95 mask. So I am not going to tell you it is as good as an N95 mask. I am going to tell you that it has the same properties as an N95 mask from me looking at different patents for N95 masks. The same plain simple truth is, in most of the masks that I looked at, these are the components they had in it. They had citrus acid. They had the zinc in them. They had the iodine in it, or they had salt in it, or they had iodized salt. And they had at least three layers. You're getting everything right there. It's thicker than what a normal N95 mask is. Yes. Is it just as protective as one? I'm hoping so. If you ask me, yes, it is. But this makes it so you're more safe. So there's how you make an N95 mask. And the salt solution is made the same way as the citrus acid solution. 1/3. Now, I told you I'd tell you why I put the remaining acids, citrus acid and salt, in a spray bottle. Because if you're out and about and you think that there's something going on with the mask, first of all, citrus acid is a great cleaner of surfaces. It kills germs on cleaners. It is used in cleaners for cleaning and killing germs. It's great for that. That's number one. It makes it good. Number two, if you go somewhere and you think you've been somewhere where somebody is contaminated, you can spray the outside of your mask. You don't have to soak it. I wouldn't soak it, in fact. I'd just spray the outside of the mask to kill any germs that might be on it. You can also then take out your salt piece and you can spray that down with the salt solution so that you've always got a spray bottle with the citrus acid and a spray bottle with the salt solution. If your mask gets dirty and you're forced to go with one of these masks, you get 3 of them. That way you can spray the outside with the citrus acid, spray the center with the salt solution, and have a cloth piece next to your face so you don't get the irritation from the citrus acid. Do we understand this now? Let's stay safe. Let's listen to the fact that this virus is dangerous, and let's take care of each other. You don't just wear a mask for your safety. You wear a mask for the safety and respect of those around you. Because if you happen to have COVID-19 and are an asymptomatic person, meaning you don't know you have it because you show no symptoms, you are going to keep your neighbor lady, the child next to you, your grandmother, your mother, and everybody else in your community safe by wearing your mask. So please, show your neighborhood and your community you really do care about them and wear your mask, because it really does mean a lot to some people. And yes, this ailment is affecting small children, especially after they get the illness, get over it, and there are secondary complications like blood clots that end up having children who are having heart attacks at the age of 12. Please, take care of your community. We need you, and you need them. Show them you care enough. Thank you. Bye.